Xin chào and welcome to ASEAN Today. I'm Minh of VTC10 NetViet in Hanoi.
Selamat berjumpa lagi. I'm Raissa Chentami of the Indonesia channel in Jakarta, and this is your monthly look at the dynamic Southeast Asia region. Myanmar's military killed 80 people in a devastating airstrike that targeted a concert hall by a prominent ethnic rebel group on October 23rd. The number of casualties appeared to be the highest in a single air attack by the military since it seized power in a coup in February last year. Military aircraft dropped 4 bombs in the celebration attended by up to 500 people. Kachin military officers and soldiers, musicians, jade mining business owners and civilians were among those killed. Myanmar's deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been sentenced to 3 more years in prison by a court in the military-ruled nation, bringing her combined term to 26 years. A court on October 12th found Suu Kyi guilty on 2 counts of corruption and sentenced her to 3 years on each count. The terms will be served concurrently. She also faces charges for at least 18 other offenses, ranging from graft to election violations, carrying a combined maximum term of nearly 190 years. Suu Kyi has called the accusations against her absurd and denied any wrongdoing. She is currently on trial for 5 other corruption charges, each carrying a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison. More than 130 people were killed after chaos and violence erupted in one of the world's deadliest stadium disasters. The tragedy occurred after home team Arema FC was defeated 3-2 by rivals Persibaya Surabaya at the Kanjuruhan Stadium in Malang on October 1st. Police used tear gas in response to a pitch invasion by rioting fans, causing a crush among panicked spectators. Officers and organizers are being questioned over the use of tear gas inside the venue, which is contrary to international standards. 6 people, including police officers and organizers, face criminal charges. The World Football governing body FIFA has agreed to participate in collaborative measures with the Indonesian government to develop safety policies.
Another tragedy in Thailand, where at least 36 people, including 22 children, were killed during an attack at a daycare center in northeast Thailand. Former police officer Panya Kamrap went on a 3-hour rampage on October 6, shooting and stabbing before driving through the streets to kill others. The rampage ended when he killed his wife, child, and then himself at their home. This is the deadliest attack in the country's history. Thailand's deputy police chief said that the violence resulted from exploded emotion, pointing to his dismissal from the police earlier this year and legal, money, and family troubles. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha ordered law enforcement agencies to tighten gun ownership rules and crack down on drug use following the massive killing. Malaysians will go to the polls a year early. The shaky coalition government of Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob is trying to bring political stability in a country that has had 3 prime ministers in nearly as many years. The election was not due until September 2023. It will now take place next month on November 19th, after 2 weeks of campaigning. Elections for assemblies will also be held in some of the country's 13 states. 21 million people are eligible to vote. The last election in 2018 made history when the United Malays National Organization lost power for the first time in 60 years, amid public anger over the multi-billion-dollar corruption scandal at the state fund 1MBD. Voters this time appear more concerned about the cost of living amidst rising prices and higher interest rates, but have also been angered by the jostling for power among politicians. Typhoon Nauru ripped through Southeast Asia, with the Philippines taking the biggest hit. At least 12 people were killed and 52 others hurt when Nauru swept through Luzon on September 25th, with maximum sustained winds of 195 kilometers per hour and gusts of 240 kilometers. Nauru is one of the strongest typhoons to have formed and made landfall this year. More than 714,000 people were affected, with nearly 23,000 people displaced and 12,000 taking temporary shelters in 127 evacuation centers. Nauru then hit Vietnam, killing at least 2 people and causing blackouts, with winds of 115 kilometers per hour and large thunderstorms. It was the most powerful typhoon to hit Vietnam in 20 years, and more than 100,000 households have been evacuated. Nauru then made landfall in Thailand with heavy rains and strong winds on September 28th. More than 3,100 households were affected. One person died and 2 others were hurt due to the wind damage in Phetchabun, where a total of 1,300 households were affected.
Thailand has raised the price of instant noodles for the first time in 14 years. That's a sign that the country's economy has been battered by soaring inflation coupled with the knock-on effects of the Russian-Ukraine conflict. ASEAN Today's Karina Tasha reports.
Thailand has price controls on certain essential goods to relieve pressure on consumers. Price caps were placed on items such as eggs, cooking oil, as well as noodles, which are favored by many as a cheap and convenient meal. But due to soaring production costs, the war in Ukraine, along with droughts and floods over the past years, the country has approved a proposal to increase the price of instant noodles. Prices were increased by 7 baht or 18 cents from the previous price of 6 baht or 16 cents per packet. That's because the price of wheat flour has risen 20 to 30% and the price of palm oil has doubled.
ขึ้นหมดอะค่ะขึ้นมาตามกันหมดบางวันเนี้ยเขาอาจจะกิน2 ซอง 3 ซองอย่างเงี้ยใช่ไหมคะแต่เขาก็คือกินน้อยลงเหลือซองเดียวอย่างเงี้ยเพราะว่าเขาก็ต้องไปซื้ออย่างอื่นกินด้วยอะไรเงี้ย
Thailand's inflation rate reached a 14-year high of 7.86% in August, plunging more Thais into poverty.
An average person would consume or use around 15% of their income on food. But for low-income households, they actually use up to 40%. So when food prices rise, it affects the lower income groups very harshly.
Thailand doesn't produce enough wheat and palm oil, 2 basic ingredients for instant noodles production. So it relies heavily on imports, and Ukraine is one of Thailand's greatest supplier of wheat. The COVID-19 pandemic's crippling blow to Thailand's crucial tourism industry is now compounded by a global inflationary crisis that has sent the price of food rising beyond many people's reach. But producers try to be positive.
บะหมี่กึ่งสำเร็จรูประหว่างคนไทยเนี่ยไม่มีทางแยกกันออกเลยเพราะว่ายังไงก็ต้องอยู่คู่บ้านให้เราอยู่คู่บ้านอยู่คู่ครัวนะครับบอกว่าเป็นทางเลือกที่เป็นเรื่องปกติเป็นชีวิตประจำวันอยู่แล้ว
As the 5th largest consumer of instant noodles per capita in the world, that may be true. But for now, times are tough, and that comfort and solace they once sought from a warm bowl of instant noodles has become a little harder to find. Karina Tasha for ASEAN Today.
More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
Regional leaders meet to discuss the ongoing conflict in Myanmar. They are in the hot seat next.
Saya ingin mengumumkan kerjasama dengan The Indonesia Channel. Saya mendorong semua entitas untuk bergabung dalam upaya ini dengan mempromosikan produk dan layanan mereka di platform digital yang unik ini.
I love Indonesia. I love the food. Yummy. Wow. I'm gonna hunt for ingredients. Now I'm ready to cook. Let's go to the kitchen. It's done. Let's meet to eat.
Foodiepedia on the Indonesia Channel.
Segala sesuatu di sekitar kita mungkin berbeda.
Tetapi semangat kami masih sama.
Untuk memberikan pelayanan yang terbaik.
Dan bahkan lebih dari sebelumnya.
Kami peduli dan kami di sini untuk Anda.
Untuk memberikan kenyamanan layaknya di rumah Anda sendiri.
Hi, I'm Rory He. You're watching the Indonesia Channel, the home of good sport.
I'm Minh, visiting NetViet in Hanoi.
I'm Thairat Thomya of Thailand's Thairat TV in Bangkok.
I'm Monica Sambodet from the National Television of Cambodia in Phnom Penh.
I'm Raymond Go of Malaysia's TV3 in Kuala Lumpur.
I'm Glenda Chong of Singapore's Channel News Asia.
I'm Raissa Chentami of the Indonesia channel at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
This is your weekly look into the dynamic Southeast Asia region.
ASEAN Today on the Indonesia Channel.
The Best of Bali takes viewers on a special guided tour to the treasures of the island of the gods.
The romantic dinner is beautiful.
The Best of Bali, only on the Indonesia Channel.
You are watching ASEAN Today, and I'm Minh in Hanoi.
And I'm Raissa Chentami in Jakarta. Southeast Asian foreign ministers held a special meeting in Jakarta on October 27th to discuss the Myanmar peace process. The talks at the ASEAN Secretariat covered the implementation of a 5-point peace consensus agreed with Myanmar's military leaders in 2021 to try to end the conflict in the country.
Para Menlu ASEAN menyampaikan concern dan kekecewaan terhadap tidak adanya kemajuan signifikan dari pelaksanaan 5 point of consensus. Sangat jelas kekhawatiran ini dan bahkan beberapa negara menyampaikan rasa frustrasinya terhadap tidak adanya kemajuan ini. Alih-alih ada kemajuan, situasi bahkan dikatakan memburuk. Bahasa yang dipakai oleh Chair adalah deteriorating and worsening. Serangan yang dilakukan junta militer Myanmar pada saat pelaksanaan konser musik di Kachin harus dikecam dan tidak dapat diterima. Indonesia menyampaikan duka cita dan simpati kepada para korban dan keluarganya. Tindakan kekerasan sekali lagi harus segera dihentikan. Dan Indonesia menyampaikan agar pesan inilah yang harus segera disampaikan kepada Tatmadaw. Kita yakin hanya dengan engagement dengan all stakeholders, maka ASEAN akan dapat menjalankan fungsinya untuk memfasilitasi berlangsungnya dialog. Dan dialog nasional inilah yang diharapkan akan dapat membahas masa depan Myanmar. Masalah Myanmar hanya akan dapat diselesaikan oleh rakyat Myanmar sendiri. Oleh karena itu, dialog di antara mereka menjadi sangat penting artinya. Tugas ASEAN memfasilitasi.
We have heard many voices calling for engagement with the NUG, not only from outside, but also among our colleagues, ASEAN ministers. In my capacity of special envoy, I have not only the mandate but the duty to engage with all party concerned, and that means what it means. We will do whatever our duty call us to do. You know that negotiation is oftenly about discretion, and most of the time it is done in a very discreet, if not secret manner. Just be aware that we are engaging with all party concerned within our mandate.
I would say everyone is frustrated that the 5-point consensus is not showing any real progress, and we appreciate also the the good works of the two special envoys. I think they have done whatever that is humanly possible to do what needs to be done. But we regret the fact that the junta has not been cooperative. What Malaysia do today is to propose that we need to strengthen the implementation of the 5-point consensus. I use the term framework. We need to have a framework with a clear end game for the people of Myanmar, and that the end game is a Myanmar that is democratic. We suggested that the dialogue between ASEAN and all stakeholders has to be more inclusive, to include, among others, the NUG and the NUCC. We say that between now and the ASEAN summit, there must be some progress, because if there is no progress, then the leaders will have to ask the hard questions by the time they meet in November this year.
The meeting was chaired by Cambodian Foreign Minister Prak Sokhonn. More ASEAN Today is coming up shortly.
We are going to Singapore. That's where artists turn simple sheets of paper into visual delights.
Produk lokal memang handal, kreasi lokal memang spesial. Ayo beli buatan negeri, bangga sekali produk sendiri. Dari busana sampai kria, kuliner juga buatan kita. Ayo beli kreatif lokal, marilah beli produk kreatif lokal. Berjuang negeri, beli kreatif lokal, banggalah beli produk kreatif lokal.
I'm Caitlin Turner, and welcome to Yoga Bliss. Exhale, reaching down to triangle pose.
Roll your knee out and up to the sky, breathing here.
Yoga Bliss, only on the Indonesia Channel. This is the Indonesia Channel.
You are watching iPop Playlist.
iPop on the Indonesia Channel.
This is ASEAN Today.
And we are coming to you this week from Jakarta and Hanoi. It's seen as a hobby for some and a profession for others. The art of transforming paper into dioramas and sculptures has been gaining popularity in Singapore. As ASEAN Today's Fauzul Azim reports, two artists in the Lion City are using the medium of paper to share their unique identity and style with the world.
For Cheryl Teo, her three-dimensional paper artworks can excite people who don't realize what paper can be and how it can be used to create things.
My name is Cheryl and I create 3D sculptures, tactile illustration and mainly handcrafted design. My job scope mainly entails me getting involved in creating set designs using paper for things like commercial projects and advertising projects. I started doing this professionally around 6 to 7 years ago. Yeah, I really enjoy playing with color. I really enjoy being able to tell a narrative through my work. At this point, I'm also exploring ways in which I can allow the paper objects and forms to move.
Her art involves a lot of creating playful, whimsical sculptures or dioramas.
I enjoy observing my surroundings and the environment that I live in. I also enjoy taking something that is very ordinary or mundane in our day-to-day lives and then kind of putting my own spin to it. Even though it's miniature, it's almost like I'm allowing you to kind of put a magnifying glass over the scenes or the objects and taking, a closer look to them.
For Ashley Yeo, paper cutting is like looking for a kind of slowness or peacefulness in the work. Ashley aims to offer a kind of vulnerability to the audience for something so fragile to exist, or something so small to exist in a big space, and for them to see that energy radiating from her work.
I'm Ashley Yeo, so I'm an artist working in Singapore and I mostly work with paper and drawing. I went to art college, I was with the fine arts, and I specialize in oil painting. It allowed me to explore a lot of other materials, and from there, that's how I sort of started working with paper, and then it sort of slowly developed into paper cutting and what I'm doing now. I particularly like working with patterns and simpler colors or more natural colors.
Both women see their work as more than fun. Their creativity has turned into paper in artistic gold. Fauzul Azim for ASEAN Today.
Here are several events on the ASEAN calendar. Loi Krathong will be celebrated on November 8th across Thailand. The Putrajaya bird race is set for November 19th and 20th in Putrajaya, Malaysia. And Boy Pablo will hit the stage on November 30th in Singapore. Is nestled deep in a remote jungle in the Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng National Park in central Vietnam. Son Doong Cave was hidden from the outside world for years. With its beauty and enormous size, the cave draws visitors from around the world. ASEAN Today's Aisha Nadira takes us there.
Son Doong was explored by a team of British caving experts in 2009. With the help of local farmer Ho Kant. He found the cave entrance during one of his trips into the jungle to look for agar wood more than a decade earlier. But the cave was too deep, dark, and dangerous for unequipped people to enter. Howard Limbert was among the first to explore the cave. He says Son Doong was formed more than 2 million years ago when a river flowed through the fault lines of the limestone and eroded away the rock.
The reason why the cave is so big and the caves are so big in Quang Binh is the quality of the limestone. This is the oldest rocks in Southeast Asia, 450 million year old, and it's really pure, good quality limestone. And caves are formed because of big rivers.
The steep terrain, the large volume of rainfall, and the quality of limestone in the region containing 98% calcium carbonate were the perfect ingredients for this large cave to be formed. Son Doong has 2 large sinkholes where the cave roof collapsed hundreds of years ago. That opens the cave to the outside world and gives it a source of light to create a unique ecosystem. The forests around the sinkholes are habitats for rare plants and animals. It was recognized the world's largest single cave passage by the Guinness Book of World Records after cavers made several explorations for measurement.
Son Doong, we know, is 10 kilometers long, 10 kilometers and 43 meters. That's the length of Son Doong. So it's not that long regarding caves all over the world, but the size of it, the volume of it, makes it the largest cave in the world.
In 2019, Limbert worked with a diving team, the same divers who helped successfully rescue the young footballers who were trapped in a cave in northern Thailand the year before, to explore the main river of the cave. The cave experts believe it connects to another cave system, which would mean that Son Doong is even longer and bigger.
Most of the passages we have explored, because we've been exploring here since 2009. So all the small passages on the side we have explored. The main passage that is unexplored is the main river, which sinks in Line 1. And only last year we had some divers, the world's best divers, that came over, the same people who rescued the Thai children, good friends of our team. We invited them over and they dived the river to try and connect it with another cave. It was an incredibly deep dive and extremely technically difficult, and it's still not been completed. And hopefully in the years ahead technology will improve that will allow us to dive very deep and connect it with a cave called Hung Tong. Then it will be even longer, will Sondong, and even bigger.
Sondong has been open to caving expeditions since 2013. The company that runs tours to the cave says a limited 1,000 visitors are allowed each year to go on a 4-day expedition. The expedition costs $3,000 per person. Aisha Nadira for ASEAN Today.
We like hearing from you throughout the ASEAN region and the world. Palm Tree had this comment on the extended stay of the iconic panda family in Singapore. Happy family, Kai Kai, Chia Chia, and Lila. All of our episodes are posted on YouTube, so check us out there if you can't find us on your local TV channel. Then let us know what you're thinking or what you want to see on the program. Email us at ASEANTodayTV@gmail.com, post something on our Facebook page, or tweet us at ASEANTodayTV. If you spend Halloween at home, watching a horror movie is a good option. And Southeast Asia has recently seen the arrival of a number of scary movies.
Kesalahan yang harus aku hapus.
Horror films in Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia have set box office records, beating major Hollywood releases. This only solidifies the genre as arguably the most popular in the region. Films like Joko Anwar's Impetigore and Emir Ezwan's Soul have been nominated for consideration at the Academy Awards. Streaming services such as Netflix and Shudder now make it even easier to be frightened in your own home. And that's ASEAN Today for this week. Terima kasih. I'm Raissa Chentami of the Indonesia channel in Jakarta.
And I'm Ngan of VTC 10 NetViet in Hanoi. Xin cảm ơn and please join us again next time for ASEAN Today.